my classmate, Marilyn Ventura, Marilyn Dodge, to talk about her brother, George, whose name is on that monument. And that would be George Larson from World War II, and I would call you up at this time. It's going to take about 10 seconds to move.
George Larson was born on February 17, 1926 in Bellingham to my mother Mary Beatty and her husband Carl Larson. As a toddler, he was nicknamed Buddy, and that is how I will refer to him today. After their divorce and Mom's subsequent remarriage to my dad, they moved to Issaquah, and it was during the Depression that they started a goat ranch, shipping milk to Hans Forster's Alpine Dairy, which is now Dairy Goat Farms. Buddy's childhood on the Issaquah Creek at the foot of Tiger Mountain was full of adventures and hard work. Fishing the Issaquah Creek for salmon and keeping the bear and coyotes away from the herd of 100 goats. I'm sorry. The mornings were spent milking and herding the goats up Tiger Mountain to graze. After school, he herded them back to the ranch for the evening milking. When we went to high school, Issaquah High School, our principal was Charles Falstrom. In 1940, Mr. Falstrom was Buddy's teacher, and when Buddy was out of school on an extended absence, he asked the class to write letters to Buddy. They depict the era and the humor of 14-year-old boys. It doesn't appear that Mr. Falstrom read or approved of the content. Some excerpts are from Snake, Scott, Morris the Lug, Walter, and Gordon Pickering. These are some of them. This morning we were going to the auditorium to see a play by the 6th grade. I bet it's a rotten play. The WPA is putting in a new baseball field. They're hauling in the dirt now. What's the matter with you anyway? Another said, I heard you fell in the creek and got a cold. You're missing a lot of school. You better be back or you'll soon be repeating this grade next year. Another said, boy, are you lucky. We had 3 tests this week. Today's Friday and I'm glad. The teacher got a new paddle, what he calls his little plank. If you want to know, it doesn't feel so hot. I know by experience. And I think that was Walt Watkins, who was our postmaster, because it's Walter, and I know he was a classmate. This one said, yesterday Jim Holder fell in the pond up to his neck, and Beezer sure did get mad. We got our picture taken for basketball championship. If you want one, it'll cost 15 cents. You better bring me a bear steak when you come back. Falstrom got a new paddle. It's about 1 inch thick. He gave Scott a swat yesterday and he bawled. Another said, you better stay home as long as you can because we're having tests in some English and arithmetic. Falstrom's cranky as hell. So stay home and save your money. After high school, the war was escalating. So at age 18, Buddy entered the Army and was inducted on August 11, 1945. He was sent to Camp Roberts, California for basic training and wrote home about once a week. Excerpts from some of his letters follow. I'm still alive and getting along fine. I'm starting my 17 weeks training to be an infantryman. The infantry is not my choice, but that's where they're all going now. I've not figured out why people live in this part of the country when they don't have to. It gets awful damn hot here. We're up at 4:30, clean the barracks, eat, and ready to go at 6:30. Another letter said, so far I've had instruction in first aid, chemical warfare, landmines, and booby traps. The other night we camped out, we dug foxholes, and had tanks run over us. It was rather exciting. I went over to see Irving's brother, and that would be Irv Petit, was a neighbor of the family, but he shipped out yesterday. By the way, I've gained 10 pounds. And then he said, this week we practiced the rifle, how to hold it, sight, squeeze the trigger, and so on. It was hell laying out there in the dust all day and not getting a chance to shoot. Although I don't like my sergeant so much, I get along pretty good. In fact, I thrive on it. I feel so for some of the boys here. They just can't take it. Another said, today I shot the rifle, grenade launcher, and the bazooka. It was great fun. I think of home quite a bit now, and I have 3 months more and I can drop in on you. Every letter closed with love, Bud, please write. And then Buddy came home on leave, and as you can see in the photos, he's very somber. I'm the baby on his lap, and my sister Doris is on his right, and my sister Nancy on the left, and my brother Joe. And maybe it was a premonition of what lies ahead. He left Issaquah for Fort Ord. The next slide, Dave.
That's serious.
This is the family with my mom and dad. He left Issaquah for Fort Ord in January of 1945 for his assignment. And he wrote then, it isn't as bad down here. They treat me more like soldiers anyway. We are busy getting outfitted here for the big trip. Love, Bud. P.S. I think it'll be the South Pacific.
Next.
Yeah. Buddy died on June 14, 1945 in the Battle of Okinawa, codenamed Operation Iceberg, which was fought on the Ryukyu Islands of Okinawa as the largest amphibious assault in the Pacific War. The 82-long battle lasted from early April until mid-June of 45. The battle was referred to as the Typhoon of Steel. The nickname refers to the ferocity of the fighting and the intensity of gunfire involved, and to the sheer numbers of Allied ships and armored vehicles that assaulted the island. The battle resulted in one of the highest number of casualties of any World War II engagement. The operation commander, General Simon Buckner Jr., was also killed by enemy artillery fire 4 days after Buddy's death. Claire Pace, Buddy's commanding officer, wrote to my mom, George came to us during this operation, therefore he was with us a short time, but in this time we learned to like, respect, and depend on him. He was first scout in his squad, a position that requires great courage and ability. George proved to be more than equal to the job. As a scout, he led the men of his squad in the face of enemy resistance, which he did on numerous occasions during our operation. The company was attacking the important hill 181 when we encountered very stiff enemy resistance. During this fight, George was killed by a grenade. All medical aid was near, but George had already passed away. He did not suffer any pain. Although George's Army career was brief, you can rest assured that the battles he fought were vital ones. We all hope and pray that his sacrifice will not be in vain, but will assure peace and freedom for our country and the world forever. Buddy was buried in Arlington National Cemetery in a grove of oak trees, not far from the Tomb of the Unknown. In closing, I will read the remembrance written by my cousin Ellen Beatty, which reflect on his youth, innocence, and the great personal loss to our family. Buddy Larson, a quiet lad, handsome, blonde, smiling, who held his head high. His courage while herding the goats up the mountain were matched only by Nancy's when she took over and Buddy went to war. My most cherished memory of him is when he dropped by the house on his way home from boot camp leave. He accepted the offer of a ride home on the back of my motorcycle, an act of bravery in itself. I remember his arms wrapped tightly around my waist and the wind tossing our hair as we laughed and tried to talk about the noise. I felt a special closeness of kinship. When I asked if he'd like to use my cycle during his leave, he said yes. Even though driving a motorcycle was new to him, he brought it back without a scratch. So soon Aunt Mary was riding with the Gold Star mothers in the Issaquah Labor Day Parade. She was brave too, and so proud of Buddy. As I watched and the tears came, so did the realization of Buddy's ultimate gift of love to us, his life. Buddy was the very best.